Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Jodo Cast. This time it's our yearly end of the year best worst of the year episode. I don't know if we have an official name for it. Our notes say yearly game awards and end of year special, but I don't know if that's official. So
It would be
anyway,
really funny if we had multiple end of year specials per year, though, instead of only one per year.
our yearly end of year special. Yeah, we could. This is our yearly end of year special, but we do have monthly end of year specials. I forgot the intro music, so here you go. All right, that's enough of that. Let's get into the end of year awards. So, if you're familiar with this, we have a number of awards we give out every year. Each of us gets to give like if the Oscars, if every category had three winners based on the three hosts of the Oscars. Unless anybody has any housekeeping or things to do, we're going to dive into our awards for Star Wars games for 2023. Starting with the Rookie of the Year. And this is basically the best thing that came out this year, which may include, but is not limited to, here's notable releases that came out this year. Star Wars The Deck Building Game came out in March. Star Wars Shatterpoint came out in June. Jedi Survivor came out in April. Star Wars Rivals came out at the end of the summer. I think Star Wars Pictionary Air came out this year, and I guess the rules for Legion Spec Ops officially released. Obviously, a number of expansions for things. Uh, so those are all contenders for Rookie of the Year.
I think we should do this like
Get a lot of use
video
out of that.
game awards style. Since you were talking about you didn't want this too long, we'll just go through these rapid fire. Let's see if we can hit every award in about 30 seconds. Like
Yeah,
Jeff when he's trying to cram in
but
as many awards as he can between more game
A
trailers.
bunch of trailers, yeah.
we don't have any trailers or like flute players,
Yeah.
which means we're
It
not
would
in a time crunch. We can stretch it out. We can keep them waiting for Rookie of the Year. They're like, "Ooh, what is it?"
it would have been funny
I
if we were that well prepared that we had uh, trailers we made and a flutist and stuff. That'd be good.
You'll just have to get your guitar, Kurt, and
Between Dan.
stand in for him.
we've only had a whole year to prepare for this episode. My Rookie of the Year goes to Shatterpoint. Definitely the game that came out this year that I've spent the most time with playing and painting and thinking about. So Shatterpoint definitely gets my Rookie of the Year award. I think the deck building game was a close second place for me. Kurt, what do you got for Rookie of the Year?
I also put Shatterpoint. I have not played it as much as you, but I think it stood out to me as like the most original feeling and most exciting. I think I wasn't that excited early on when it was announced, but honestly, once it came out and I got to try it and start painting it and stuff, it's been cool.
All right, Leo. Is Shatterpoint your Rookie of the Year?
No, I went with the deck building game. I just my enjoyment on Shatterpoints dropped off enough to where I couldn't award the Rookie of the Year to it. Um, Survivor was a great game, but launch on PC was just too too rough for me.
That's fair.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess overall Rookie of the Year goes to Shatterpoint if we're going best out of three.
I've been here longest. My vote counts as two though, so
Yeah, okay. So it's a tie. Both very good games. Although apparently I suck at the deck building game because I never seem to win at it. All right, moving on to something less positive because we've got weird awards here. The biggest dud, the largest stinker, the humongous
Disappointment in some
doo-doo.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
disappointed. What happened this year that maybe you thought was going to be better than it was, or that you tried and were just let down? What was the biggest dud? What was your biggest dud this year, Kurt?
For me, I almost put Survivor just specifically due to the technical issues, which were extreme.
Yeah, you weren't
But
able to play for months.
Yeah, you were
yeah,
months behind everybody on that game.
it was bad, and even even now, if I go and play it now, I do get occasional crashes, so it's not like completely sorted out. But like that didn't outweigh all the goods of the good parts of Jedi Survivor for me. So what I ended up picking for biggest dud was X-Wing, which just has not been having any releases, like only a few expansions this year, which are mostly like reprint type things. No new ships, and that's all just very disappointing to me. Like there's so many new ships I think that they could be even announcing, and none of that's coming out, which is just really
Yeah.
sad, I think.
And like, did the starter packs come out this year?
Yeah,
Were
they
they?
did the Rebel and Imperial ones, and I'm
Yeah.
guessing
See,
there's some people that like those, but I
well,
sure don't need them, right?
that will part of the problem I think with those is there's some really they have those pre-built
Like the quick
uh
start
yeah,
cards.
the quick start cards,
Yeah,
and some of those like the Darth Vader and stuff are really strong, but then that's the only place you can get them. But like you said, for an older player like us, I already have 11 zillion TIE fighters, so I have no need of the Empire starter kit, even though I think on paper they're a really great idea and the game did need them.
yeah, I think so, but it's not enough. And like reprinting Tie Bomber or Outrider isn't useful to me. Obviously, some people will want those for 2.0, 2.5, but they're not exciting to me at all. And again, they just could be announcing stuff that they're not.
Yeah, there's right, yeah, because there's not even much on the horizon right now. There's the
Yeah,
only announced thing we have is the Starwing, the
Oh yeah.
the
yeah,
assault gunboat.
yeah, that reprint. And we know the indoor battle scenario pack will be coming
Yeah, and
next year
that's
sometime.
something that's been leaked but not officially announced. So
Yeah,
Are you sure they haven't announced that? I could have sworn they announced that at a mini extravaganza.
maybe
they
they
might have
did
like
mention it, but I think
hinted
like
it,
I
but
mean
not
like details
officially.
and stuff have been leaked on it.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Leo, what's your biggest stud?
I want to say Rivals, even though I've never played it before, just because the minis are the ugliest damn things ever. I hate that game without ever touching it. Um, but I am actually going to say Shatterpoint, just because not that it's a bad game necessarily. Uh, it's just like yeah, I've been in a really weird uh, cycle, I think, with Shatterpoint, where it was first announced, and I was very like anti the game because it seemed like it was, like I was worried about it killing off Legion. Like it was AMG devoting too much attention to this game and not enough to uh, these other games, X-Wing and Legion and Armada. Well, two of the three, I think we know the answer, but Legion still. I mean, at the end of the day, though, they've like at Mini Stravaganza, they did end up announcing just a ton of stuff for Legion. So clearly, um, they still have a lot of plans to move forward with that game. And then, as time went on, I kind of got more on board with Shatterpoint because a lot of the minis are really cool. Some of the gameplay concepts seem really neat. But once I got my hands on the game, I actually started playing. I don't know. It's an okay game. I enjoy playing it. I just don't see myself ever feeling like I'm gonna need to just collect a bunch of minis, or go out of my way to play it. It's gonna be one of those things where someone else is going to be like, "Hey, Leo, you want to play Shatterpoint?" And I'll dust off my minis. Uh, but I'm probably never gonna, try and run my store's Shatterpoint League like I do with Legion, you know.
Would you say your Shatterpoint expectations were pretty high, and so a lot of it is about compared to those expectations?
Um, I think it just ended up being more that like I just really enjoy playing Legion a lot, and so Shatterpoint just ended up not quite living up to that. You know, at the end of the day, like I said, it's not necessarily
Style.
a bad game. It's just it's not the game I'm looking for. So
So I put Pictionary Air because I tried that and it was not great. Also, honorable dud mention to Battlefront 2 2017 because a couple times this year I was like, man, I really want to play this, and it just does not work on PC anymore. It's just kind of been degenerating because they're not supporting it, and it just won't
Yeah.
run on a PC anymore. And I don't want to play on my console because I don't have all the stuff unlocked on my console. Yeah, I tried Pictionary Air, and it was just not. It was too clunky and it was dumb,
So
but it had Chopper in it.
did you have high expectations for it, or it was just that bad?
I thought it would be fine, somewhere between meh to all right, and it was like, oh, this isn't even
Even
like
worse than
fun
that.
to like fiddle with
Sure.
because it uses like a little wand that your
Hmm.
camera senses, and everyone has to share one phone. All the players are sharing one phone. The wand lights up at the end when you push the button, and so the camera is looking for the light that's drawing in like AR. And if there's other light sources in the camera, sometimes it might mistake those as the thing and draw random scribbles where you didn't intend there to be. You can't see what you're drawing unless you're playing in selfie mode, but then like all the other players can't really see, and they so it was just not a good game. I
Sounds
gave
like a
up on it after like
like
10
a
minutes.
very poorly thought out gimmick.
Yes. But when you pick teams, you can have your mascot be some of the options are Chopper or a Gonk droid, so it gets points in that department, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the little wand looks like some kind of sex toy, which is funny.
Then it's just Star Warsy because it just gives you Star Wars prompts basically for what to draw or what?
Yeah, and the app is all like Star Warsy.
Okay.
Less negative, and we move into the wistful category here, which is going to be what did you miss out on personally award. this is this is like if the Oscars had an award for like this is the movie I really wanted to watch but didn't. Leo, why don't you go first? What did you miss out on in 2023?
Okay, so what I really want to say is the Armada like campaign expansion sets because I played more Armada here in 2023 now than I have all the previous years the game has been out put together.
Nice.
So I've been enjoying Armada a lot lately again, and I want to go back and play those expansions, but those came out in 2016 and 2019, so they don't count for this year. Um, so
I don't know if you wanted to play them this year and you didn't. That counts.
sure, yeah. Otherwise, I was gonna say getting to play in Worlds at Adepticon because all of our store championships that we've run this year have not gotten enough players. It's been really,
Mm.
really sad. So yeah, so I didn't even have a shot at playing to win an invite.
It's got to be a problem for a lot of places. I feel like it's going
Yeah,
to really skew who is going to be there, you know? It's going to be
yeah,
like
we've
big
had
C people only or something.
two. Our store bought two Legion store championship kits, and we've had six players at both of them that we've run. We had an
Mm.
X-wing store championship. Actually, they bought two X-wing store championships, and we haven't even bothered to run the second one because the first one only had three players. So
And you
yeah,
need
it's
16 to qualify or 12?
yeah. You gotta have.
16?
You're supposed to have 16 players to qualify. It's really sad because
That's big.
once upon a time we had a really really strong Legion community in the area.
My missed out on award goes to the Star Wars Villainous expansion because that came out this year. It introduced, I think, Seventh Sister, whichever the one from Rebel Season 2 is, Boba Fett, and Cad Bane. And it looked cool, and I like those characters, and I haven't had a chance to play it yet. So one of the many Star Wars games that I bought this year that I haven't played, of all of those, it's the one I wish I had played the most. Kurt, what'd you miss out? What keeps you up at night?
I mean, I missed out on a lot of stuff. There were a lot of games I kind of want to play and never really got to. But the one that I picked is the deck builder. I did buy it, but I have not played it yet, and it looks really fun and cool. I couldn't get my wife to play with me, and so I have not actually played with mine yet, unfortunately, which is a shame because it looks really cool.
It is fun. You gotta find someone who will play with your deck
Yeah.
builder. It's not as fun to play with it by yourself. You gotta find at least one consenting partner.
Yeah, agreed.
You guys should organize a deck builder tournament.
That'd be fun. I know there's people who have it that I could play with. For example, Leo. But I just like never get around to like checking in and be like, hey, so and so, do you want to play, a game?
Okay, so after we get off the call tonight, you two are gonna go drive out to like a Denny's or something.
It's a shame too, because it would be probably easier to get matches in with that game than a lot. It's like faster
Yeah, it's
paced,
a quick game.
no like setup and stuff, so it should be easier to play, but I just haven't yet.
Is Denny's in Fargo even still open anymore? I don't think it is it?
How about a Perkins?
Or a frying pan.
The Fern?
Nope, there's no Perkinses left. Is there? No. Yep, they're all gone.
There's a Village Inn by me, I think is
Applebee's.
There's a lot of Applebee's, or used to be. Maybe there's not anymore.
There's always an Applebee's.
Used to always be like...
Applebee's is lurking behind you, just waiting to pounce.
The conversation always used to be, which Applebee's are we going to? The one on 32nd. No, okay, which one on 32nd? Or maybe 45th. I forget. There's one that
it was 13th used to have like 3 of them 13th, on it.
Probably, yeah. Fargo likes Applebee's. I missed out on Applebee's, too. I haven't been to one this year.
Oh man, that must be tough.
Wow. What do you know?
That's our sponsor, Dex's Diner, bringing us into the Most Improved Award. Most Improved Game. This can mean whatever you want that to mean. For me, I picked the Jedi franchise, aka Jedi Survivor, improving on Jedi Fallen Order, because I didn't have PC issues. I didn't have the same bad taste in my mouth when it came out and thought it was pretty much better in every way, and I loved it. And I'm excited for a third one eventually.
Yeah.
All them Turgles and Pyloon Saloons and like blaster lightsabers and witch kisses, all sorts of good stuff in that game that the first one didn't have.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Leo.
I'm having a hard time with this category.
Everything got worse in 2023.
I mean,
is there anything that like plateaued? It like didn't get better, but it didn't get worse. Most proved, not improved, not unproved.
I mean, because like Legion, like didn't we get all the new cover rules in Legion came out right at the beginning of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say Legion.
At best, that was a side grade.
Okay. if we specifically say Legion cover or climbing rules, the climbing rules improved there.
Okay.
That's my
Most improved Legion's climbing rules specifically.
Fair.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know. It's been a rough year for me as a Star Wars gamer. I feel like, at least as a Star Wars tabletop gamer, just because
A lot of
I'm
stuff
gonna, you know
kind
what
of
I'm gonna
petering
say.
out, you know?
Yeah, I would say I'm gonna say the Star Wars role playing game, just because the dice are finally back in the stores and you can
It
buy
is
them again.
it is an improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think 2023's been a rough year for me. I mean, if you were, I mean, if you're big into Shatterpoint, it's been a great year for you. But otherwise, it's been rough. I think.
Yeah.
There's been some some specific units that have come out for Legion that have been good, but for me, it's all still been tainted by the some of the rules changes that they've made with cover. So I'm still gonna complain about that. Sorry, guys.
I agree, though. Like, I wanted to be really excited and be like, oh, there's all these great units. I know Joe's been playing with Ewoks a lot, but I ended up not buying any yet. You know, they
It's
didn't
hard
excite
to.
me, so...
I would not have gone into Ewoks as hard as I did if they hadn't sent me an advanced preview and sort of like kickstarted my army,
Mhm.
because I have 4 Ewoks. 2 of them I think I got at a discount. One I got sent to me, and the other. So it's expensive to have like a big enough Ewok army to be fun. I mean, that's sort of the case with all of anything you can play in that game, but the Ewoks are less versatile. You know, if you bought a bunch of rebels, you can do all sorts of stuff with that. If you buy a bunch of Ewoks, they're just good for Ewoks. So it's harder to commit to
Yeah.
getting into that. I find them very fun. I really like them, but it's a hard like sell if somebody's like, I love Ewoks. I'm like, well, do you want to only play Ewoks? Because then you can get this.
Now that being said, I am looking forward to 2024 as a Legion player. There is, uh, some cool stuff on the horizon there. So,
Like Geonosians.
Geonosians.
All right, Kurt, what was your most improved,
So, I mean...
if any?
Well, yeah,
Apparently.
I'll echo a lot of what Leo said. Most of the tabletop stuff wasn't exciting enough for me to be like, oh, wow, this game really got better. So I end up echoing also what Joe said. My pick ends up being Jedi Survivor, ignoring specifically the technical issues, which were a big downgrade for me, including not just crashes for me, but the graphics are so much worse than the old game, even though it's a newer game. But beyond that, I think like you were saying,
I think that's a you problem.
the well, I mean that's fair, but uh, even when I got a new graphics card, it does not look good. It doesn't look good. It just
Weird.
looks less ugly. But I'm kind of ignoring that. But specifically, the Jedi Survivor writing, I think, is mostly better. It's like a more complex and interesting plot. That some of the writing was weird, but overall, I liked the story and had fun with it. I think the
See, I thought
mechanics
that the
were
I
a lot
thought the
better.
opposite. Well, to be honest, I liked the
I thought
story and
the
writing in the first game way better.
I agree with Leo. I think the first game had a much tighter, much more meaningful story. I loved the second one. I like
So
it
you
way
never get
more.
to
I like
kiss.
the
You do not get to kiss Marin in the first game. So there we go. There we go. That you just changed my mind. You can't
that
kiss Marin in Jedi Fallen Order. You
Fallen Order.
can. You do kiss Marin in Jedi Survivor. So
that
there we
counts
go. Most
as
improved
writing to
game.
me. Like that's part of the story, and I think
Also mullet.
like I ended up enjoying it wasn't perfect, but I ended up enjoying the characterizations and conversations and things more because there was more complexity. I think the ending lost me a little bit, but for most of the game I was like really into uh the different plot stuff going on, the way that they worked in High Republic stuff I thought was interesting. Mostly mechanically, it was a
Yeah.
lot better. Like I liked the extra lightsaber styles. I liked not having to unlock a bunch of the stuff that you probably should start with because it feels pretty fundamental to it. It felt like okay, now we're finally in like a mature game in a lot of ways. So I think overall, it
Yeah,
was
I think
improved.
that my biggest issues with the writing was just the villains in general, both the main one and the twist one,
Yeah.
which they just felt like the motivations didn't get fleshed out enough.
Hmm.
But all the main characters and like your friends and stuff had a lot more depth and interesting things to say.
And like droid banter was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
fun. Uh, I thought it was interesting that they're like, um, let's go to this new, original, unfamiliar planet with like weird stuff going on. Obviously, you do still end up going to some familiar planets for part of the time, but it was like, okay, we're coming up with original Star Wars stuff to some extent, and I thought that was really cool.
Are we ready for? We actually have been cruising through this episode, but there's more after the awards because it's not only an award show; it's a end of year spectacular. So here
Variety
comes
show. We've got
the.
some songs.
Oh wait, no, we're not quite at the end yet. We've got expansion of the year before we get to game of the year. Expansion of the year, a new edition this year. I put this one in here.
Because it's kind of a little different
Uh,
from a game improving in general, and it's not the same as like a whole new game or anything. So it's kind of like its own category. I think that makes a lot of sense.
let's start with Leo. Was there a single expansion this year that you thought this is all right?
um, I was gonna say the Dark Troopers for Legion. They're cool looking sculpts, and they really tear it up on the battlefield. So
There were a lot of Legion expansions, a lot of Shatterpoint expansions. Like we said, not much X-wing. There was that villainous expansion that I haven't played, so that's obviously not going to be my pick. I'm surprised you picked Dark Troopers. They look cool. Had a lot of contention in the community for being way too good.
Yeah, but I also haven't heard that recently.
yeah, but
So
I'm also an Imperial player, so I mean,
Mhm.
if an Imperial unit's gonna be overpowered, that's okay with me. So
I picked the Fistful of Credits expansion for Shatterpoint. This is the one that includes Cad Bane, Aura Singh, and the Bounty Hunters. Um, Obviously, I love Cad Bane. I think Aura Singh is cool, and I really like the sculpts. I think they're very fun to play. I enjoy playing them. They're not the best units in the game, which isn't something I concern myself with when I play Shatterpoint, because I just like getting cool guys on the table over having a lot of efficiency. Um, so I love that box because the sculpts are so cool. I love the Deveronian who's dual wielding pistols with his cape billowing. Cad Bane sculpt is awesome. I like having him on the table. Um, I just really like that. Definitely my favorite expansion of the year. I would say a runner up would probably be the Logray and Wicket pack, just because I really like those sculpts as well. After I got those painted, I was like, these guys are, I really like having these on the table. They look really fun and uh, they're also fun to play and have. I like Logray and Wicket, they have some unique abilities.
nice.
All right, Kurt, what was your expansion of the year?
Well, like I was already saying, I wasn't very excited by most of the Legion things coming out. I thought about picking one of the Shatterpoint expansions because they had various interesting ones that I thought looked kind of cool, but I really haven't actually used them yet, so it felt kind of weird to pick one of those, basically based just off the like the sculpt or whatever. So what I ended up picking is, if this counts, the Armada Rapid Reinforcements 2 expansion. It's a free,
That the print and play
yeah,
one?
that they added basically to the existing print and play. And it's not huge. It's like a few new extra pilots, a couple extra like officer cards or redone officer cards. So it's not anything crazy, but I really appreciated that they're putting like any effort into Armada when they could be completely ignoring it. I feel like they're putting more effort into Armada than X-Wing, honestly. And I'd prefer to have a physical expansion that I could buy the cards, but still getting a free printable expansion with new pilots and stuff, I thought was pretty cool. So
is that it? Was that when they finally made what's her face? Was it
Governor
Price?
Price. Yeah. New
Legal to
version.
play again.
Yeah. And it's like that is some nice extra thought in this game that they could just leave dead, but they're like, you know what? Here is a card that we could give a new version of so people can actually use the new version at least. I'm like, that's some nice thought. And I do appreciate that compared to what they could be doing.
Oh. All right, we've been played into our Jodo Cast Game of the Year awards. This is very prestigious. People clamor for this. We get a lot of bribes from various studios that we all have to send back. Let's start with Kurt. Kurt, what is your 2023 Star Wars Game of the Year?
It was a tough choice, especially since I didn't play many at all. I ended up picking Star Wars Shatterpoint. Even though I didn't play it a ton, and I'm not going to say that it's like the most amazing game ever. It doesn't like necessarily replace Legion for me, but I thought it was really cool overall. I enjoyed the rules. I enjoyed like a different take on a minis game, and it was fun to see Atomic Mass putting their kind of own original spin on a Star Wars mini game, like completely from scratch. And yeah, I felt like overall the quality of it was better, had fewer downsides than something like Jedi Survivor, even though I really liked that game. Um, and I think it will have a bigger, longer lasting impact than like the deck builder, for example. So it is overall the game I've been surprisingly the most excited about this year and not as kind of over the hill on. So yeah.
My Game of the Year, Jedi Survivor, was close but didn't quite make it. With even though I think that game might very well be my favorite Star Wars video game. I also picked Shatterpoint, which may be less surprising to everybody because I have been really into Shatterpoint. I've grabbed all the expansions. I really like it. It just seems like a game that's. I still like Legion. I'm still very excited to go to Worlds for Legion, but there's been games of Legion where I don't feel good when the game is over because of just I don't know various things, and then I play Shatterpoint and none of those things happened to me, and it's just sort of so much different and sillier of a game. I think it's safe to call Shatterpoint a little silly, if you want to, because
Yeah.
so much more of it is dependent on how you react to like sort of random chaos as opposed to how well you can plan a battle, and that's better for me because I'm not as good at like tactics, and it's more fun to be like, well, there's nothing I could have done about that. Oops, oh well. And I
See,
love
see,
the minis, and I
see
think
no, it's like the opposite for you. You are good at tactics. That's why you like Shatterpoint better. And Legion is more about strategy than tactics. Like strategy is a big overall plan.
oh
Tactics
sure,
is like reacting to the smaller events as they come at you.
yeah, I like that a lot about Shatterpoint. I also like a lot of it. It's so much different than any other miniature game
Yeah,
I've played or have heard
for
of.
sure.
And like I'll play Legion, and oh, Wicket got nuked turn one, and now we've still got 2 hours left of game, and Wicket's already gone. Shatterpoint hit like attacking is super important, but people rarely ever like actually get defeated off the table, which I enjoy. I like the small minis count. I like the emphasis on mobility and weird abilities because I see people like doing all their little math about, oh, what's the maximum damage potential for this character. I'm like, that doesn't matter. It matters, but it doesn't like how that's always important, but there's other things that should be considered when considering a unit. I feel like in Shatterpoint that's even more so. Like their damage output might not be the main reason. Like if they are hypermobile or have a really good ability that is for objectives. I don't know. I just really, it's very, for me, I think, despite I could spend just as long rambling about things I have issues with, they
Yeah.
don't prevent my enjoyment of the game, but there are a lot of things that make me scratch my head or that feel a little sloppy or uh, just seem like I why was it like that? Or why didn't you word it this way? Or I don't know. There's a lot of things like that in that game. It doesn't feel like a perfectly fine tuned, polished product, but I still really like it. And once you get past all those things, it's really fun because a lot of them feel like a huge deal when you started playing because all sorts of people they learn the line of sight rules and the terrain cover rules and they go, "This is stupid. I don't understand it." And then after you've played a bunch, you realize, oh, it doesn't matter. Like it's fine, and there's almost no instances where you go, "That's dumb that I can see you." That happens every once in a while, but the number of times it doesn't matter and makes the game flow faster, make up for it. There's
Yeah, it's
I've played so many games of Shatterpoint, and there's never been a time where I'm like, "Oh, it's dumb that I can see you." It's just it it just keeps the game moving, and I don't mind the cover rules were bad until they did like the day one patch that required a hunker token to give you terrain cover. So it's I don't know.
it's not a perfect
It's
game, but it does a lot that's
You're
original
going too
and
easy on
cool,
them.
you know? Like
That's
I I love that
I
it
think the rules are a mess. I think it's
yeah.
the best way to learn Shatterpoint is to play with somebody who already knows how to play, and hopefully they know how to play right. Because some people play wrong, and there's people in my group who are missing rules. I think rules the rule book is just not put
Yeah.
together well. I
I
think
think that's
a
part
lot
of
of
it.
the text abilities on characters, I don't understand the weird legalese that they all are in because it does not seem to get around like rules questions. There's so many rules questions on the forums and the Discord that people have to go, huh, actually, there isn't like a clear answer to this, or how would this work? So, like, the rules text being as verbose as it is doesn't fix that.
Right.
For example, it a card would say a character in this unit may use this ability, after a attack action, a unit in this uh, a character in this unit may use this ability, then blah blah blah. Where it could just say after an attack action, Ahsoka may do this or whatever.
Yeah.
There's no reason to say a character in this unit because the abilities aren't copy pasted between characters like in Legion, where like one keyword, you can just have the keyword and know what it does. There are a couple characters with identical abilities, but they're still not copy pasted because they have different thematic names. Like I think Padawan Ahsoka says Alracia and Ventress has Dathomir and Dexterity. There's the same ability, but they have different titles, so it's not.
Yeah,
They might as well just put Ahsoka may do this.
there's a couple that end up using the same, like the Death Watch and the Maul
Oh yeah,
Mandalorians
like
both have like that.
Mandalorian stronger together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, but
It,
then there is two minis in that, two characters
yeah,
in that
in
unit,
those
so it makes
cases,
sense.
it makes sense to say a character in this unit. When it's a
It's like
single unit
Dooku or
mini that
something.
has a
It
name,
had so much
yeah,
extra text. It's like
it takes you. It also takes new players. They go, wait, what? Is this referring to something else? No, it should just say Dooku can do this. There's no reason
yeah.
it shouldn't, as far as I can tell. And it's anyway. There's a lot of weird stuff like that that does feel like barriers to entry for more seasoned wargamers, which I am not. I've only really played X-wing and Legion and stuff. But it has a lot of things I really like. The attack trees are fun. I love jumping around. Um,
Yeah, I think all those downsides to me are things that I could see impacting my opinion a lot more like in the long term. Like it might stop it from having as much staying power. You know, it might be something where it kind of grows old next year, and then I'm like, well, next year it's definitely not a game of the year. But this year I really felt like it impressed me so much when it came out. It was like a lot cooler and more fun than I expected, I guess. So that was like the big thing for me. And a few of
Yeah,
the things are so original feeling. I mean, I haven't played Marvel Crisis Protocol, so if I did, maybe I would think it's not as original or something. But I really like the things you said about like you have these big hero moments and your characters don't just die on the first round. Like those are all like really creative uh, rules directions that we don't have in other Star Wars minis games, and it really makes it stand out uh, compared to Legion or compared to Imperial Assault. You know, it's like a lot more different than I was expecting, and I think that really makes it shine, at least so far.
See, now for me, I'm not able to just look past some of that stuff the way Joe is. Um, a lot of those issues with like just some of the stuff with like cover and line of sight being just absolutely bug fuck weird as hell. Um, I just really, really bother me when I play. And same thing like with the rules, like the rule book being laid out in only what I can imagine was like someone maliciously trying to write a rule book to be as unreadable as possible. Okay, I am exaggerating there a little bit. It's not really that bad. Um, but it is one of
it's
the
weird.
worst rule books I've tried to use to play a game in a long time. Um, I think the only rule book I found worse was the Universes rule book. When I tried to learn that card game, I didn't like that rule book at all, and how they had the rules written there. Um, but yeah, so I just so for that reason I cannot give it Game of the Year along with you guys, and instead this year I'm going with Decipher's Star Wars: The Collectible Card Game.
Fair.
So
A bold choice.
Game of the Year, Game of the
How
Year.
many years running? 10?
Since we started this, so probably at least 5. I don't remember when we started doing this end of year
But it
award.
was still the game of the year before that.
Someone go look it up on the JodoCast wiki and see when they're first.
Man, but Shatterpoint is just, it's one of those games where I don't want to hear the stats. I don't want to hear which character is S tier. I just want to play with the guys I think are cool in teams that I think seem like a fun combo, and then just go like have them hop around and punch each other. And that's what I'll put. I'm not. I don't. It always feels weird saying I don't feel like a competitive player when I have a Worlds invite, but I'll put more competitive thought into Legion. But still, I don't want to go that hard at it. And Shatterpoint is just like, this is a fun, let me play with my action figures kind of game. And Legion is well, this is a war game, and let me try my best to think about how to approach this.
Yeah.
But
I think it's at least semi baked in that it is not as like optimizable. You don't have that many units. You can't spam a bunch of you can't spam the best unit. You can't really get activation advantage. And so a lot of those things add up to being, I mean, certainly there is a competitive aspect to it. It's not completely uncompetitive or something, but uh it is less designed for competitiveness first, and I think that's good.
right. And the one I I think everyone would probably agree that there is times in the game where just the random layout of your order deck or the random results of the priority objective will win or lose you a game
Yeah,
sometimes. Not every time, obviously, then the game would be terrible if it all came down to randomness. But sometimes you just get a bad pull or a bad roll on a thing, and that's that. And that's fine because that's just like, okay, that's Shatterpoint, baby.
I think there's definitely room for improvement too in like the mission options. There's
Yeah,
I guess there's two
that's my
now.
number one wish
Yeah,
list. Yeah, there's 2 missions, and they're both similar ish. Just, capture the hill. That's the thing that I find most interesting about Shatterpoint is I like it more than Legion in a lot of ways. It is, and it's more character focused. This is, it's all about, getting up close with these characters, whereas Legion is a big battle. Legion's about the troopers and stuff. But Legion tells a better story for me than Shatterpoint does, because I like to have a little story as we're going. Oh, Wicket ran over there, and you know the guy who was holding the hostage's hand, he just stabbed him in the back of the neck and took that guy's hand and is dragging him back this way while they're doing this. There's the objectives in Legion and the variety of units. They tell a fun story every time you play. It doesn't always make the most sense, but it can. Whereas in Shatterpoint,
Kind of like
like,
hitting
okay,
action
Anakin
figures
and
together,
they're
kind
going
of.
after they're going after the yellow dot over there, and Grievous is going after the yellow dot over there. Like,
Yeah, it's not
it's
really a
harder to like,
cohesive story. It's like fun moment to moment while you're playing it, but you don't step back and go like,
right.
"Oh, here's what happened." It's like, well, they kind of ran around and force pushed each other a lot, and punched each other a lot, and ran back and forth a lot, and yellow dots. Yeah,
Yeah, I love the gameplay and the, like you said, the like there's great character moments, but there's not like like, why are they doing
yeah, it
this?
doesn't really get
Like
tied
Legion is like,
together.
well, they're that moisture evaporator, it's got to go. Or that box over there has got important things in it. But Shatterpoint is just like, ah, like there's a little flavor on the mission cards that mean nothing. It's like, oh, get the codes or whatever. It's like, like maybe like I should just 3D print little props to put by each one so I can at least say, okay, they're fighting over like this box of fruit or something. I don't know, but
Yeah. Well, like I've seen some cool 3D printed like objective markers and stuff like that. But then the problem is you can't
yeah,
move your minis on top of them and stuff.
Yeah.
So
you're meant to be able to stand on them. Okay, so is there, since we've established that Leo's vote counts for 2, we've got 2 Shatter Points and 1 Star Wars CCG. If I'm saying that as a show for this Game of the Year award, this award only, we have to come to a conclusion for which is the Jodo Cast Game of the Year,
Mm-hmm.
2023.
Could we like come together on a second option, like Jedi Survivor? Is that good enough that we would all agree, or would we all just be disappointed then?
I will let you guys overrule me and say
Okay.
Shatterpoint.
There you have it, folks.
This
Shatterpoint
one
is the Jodo Cast 2023
with
Game
an
of the Year
asterisk. With an asterisk. With
2 thumbs up and like an iffy hand.
Yep. It gets Game of the Year, but it gets an asterisk like Roger Maris with his
The
with
Roger
his home
Maris of
runs.
board games. So that is it for the Game of the Year, but not it for the end of the year. Because last year we made predictions and resolutions about how 2023 was going to go. And we have predictions and resolutions about how 2024 is going to go. And our patrons have predictions and resolutions about how 2024 is going to go. So first off, let's look back and laugh at how silly we were for thinking the things we thought at this time last year. Leo, what was your resolution last year for 2023?
Let's see. Finish painting my snow troopers I started. So funny story. Did not finish painting those snow troopers. I did, however, completely paint and finish several other units of snow troopers. So the half painted ones are all still only half painted, but I started with some completely new ones and finished those, along with some snow themed speeder bikes. I've 3D printed some snow troopers on speeder bikes, and those are mostly all painted up now.
That's all
I've actually
admirable.
got my Vader all painted up. Playing Blizzard Force becoming my army of choice, and it being the one I've been playing the most has helped me focus my painting efforts somewhat. And in fact, I think at some point I'm going to go back and probably uh, strip down and reprime those other snow troopers that I mentioned in my previous resolution, so I can start painting them up to actually match better the paints I ended up using on the rest of my army.
I mean, it doesn't count as
All right, what?
you didn't succeed at your resolution. It's very cool that you painted all that extra stuff, but you still did not succeed at your resolution.
Yeah, like I said, I did
Cue
not.
the big red stamp that comes and goes failure.
Yeah. So I did not. I painted the wrong snow troopers this year.
Okay, so what was your prediction going into this year?
Okay, my predictions were one, Shatterpoint was going to kill Legion. Like I said, that was sort of tongue in cheek. I didn't really mean that one, and obviously didn't happen. Like I said, Mini Stravaganza came around, and they announced a ton of Legion stuff. So as a Legion player, I'm happy that the game seems to, um, be trucking along still. I said that Edge was going to make a blog post saying they're still working on the Star Wars RPG. I don't believe that happened. So we still got nothing from the best we got is that they finally got the beginner kits and dice out. So
I think there's some source books that I've seen with the Edge label too.
Oh yeah.
Like
No,
the reprints.
Oh yeah, the reprints have the Edge label on them. I'm just saying, this year, there hasn't been any like actual news on whatever new product they're working on. And I also predicted that the deck builder was going to be awesome, which that one 100% did come true.
1 out of 3. My resolution for this year was more RPG content. I failed at that. There has not been much RPG content, but I still whatever. I failed you. And more game shows content, which also I don't think we've done with What Is Misa Saying and Star Wars Family Feud. Want to do more of that. It's hard. We need more patrons so this can be a full-time job so I have more time for those sort of things. It's not my fault.
It's your
gotta
fault,
prioritize
listeners. Watchers.
Everybody who doesn't give me enough money to live off of, they're at fault.
They're traitors.
My prediction was that Survivor rocks. That was true. That Eclipse was canceled. No news on that. People get annoyed at Legion. That happened.
Yeah, I think we got annoyed at Legion.
Shatterpoint is fun. That happened. Star Wars card game is fun but not amazing. I think that's wrong. I don't know if amazing is the right word, but if it's
more than
calling
just
it not
fun.
amazing feels bad. Yeah, it's more than just fun. It's very good. All right, Kurt.
For my resolutions last year, I had paint more of anything, which I did do, but I feel like overall I was still kind of in a slump this year, painting stuff pretty slow. So I think I didn't really achieve the spirit of that one. Need to kind of get more on the horse, back on the horse. Shatterpoint kind of
get more on the horse.
I need to get more on the horse. Shatterpoint. So yeah, I do want to achieve more at painting than I have been doing. I got like a tiny boost from Shatterpoint, but then kind of went back into a slump again. So I don't know. I think I originally planned to like finish my clones, and I did not do that. I did get caught up again on my droids. So like I made some painting progress on some stuff, but not on other stuff. So it was kind of a mix. Also had a resolution to play any games at a local game store again. I played, I think technically 2 games at a game store. I wanted to play more than I did. I played more than 0, but not very many. Didn't really work out for my schedule. I kind of wanted to get into leagues again, and it did not go well. So I don't know. That'll be something I want to do again this year. I also have more 2-minute unit, and again, we did technically have more 2-minute unit. I think overall we mostly didn't keep up with the schedule very well, so we could do better at that one. So again, I feel like I didn't really achieve the spirit of that one. Then for predictions, I said that Jedi Survivor would have sequelitis, as in be kind of mediocre. And I think it was better than I expected. Again, despite like the technical issues and stuff, I think overall it was better than I expected. So I think I was not correct on that one. I also said that Shatterpoint would be decent but forgettable. And I think it also exceeded my expectations there too. So I think I was wrong about that. I was pretty pessimistic, or having like semi low expectations for stuff. And I think they were better than I expected. Also said Deck Builder, probably decent but forgettable. Again, I think that's like a little unfair, even though I didn't get to play it. My impression is it was better than I was expecting, probably.
I would, yeah, better than forgettable for sure.
Yeah, not necessarily amazing, but it doesn't feel like it needs to be dissed either. And then my last prediction: disappointing Legion expansions, which I would say was true for me. There weren't many that I was excited enough to actually buy personally. So
Did the swoop bikes come out this year? Was this year's swoop bike gate?
uh
No, those came out in like August or September of the year before, of 2022. Or wait, no, we're yeah, of 2022.
I don't know.
So
Okay. Now, moving into 2024, we've all got predictions, resolutions that we're going to look back on next year and go, boy, were we dumb. Let's just blast through them here. My prediction for 2024 is that Unlimited will be fun, but my local community won't really take off. X-Wing will continue to languish. We'll get a new video game announcement of some sort from some studio. So those are my predictions. My resolution is to release a new gameplay video for Rebellion. Our Rebellion content, as limited as it is, being one gameplay video, one how to play video, and one gameplay live stream, has been blowing up. So I really want to get more edited gameplay of Rebellion and more Shatterpoint and Legion gameplay videos as well. I really want to get out there. I do have a bunch of dumb little games that I really want to make videos of because I enjoy making those videos and playing those games a lot. But the Shatterpoint, Legion, and Rebellion videos are what the people want. So that's my goal, is to just get out more big, hefty gameplay videos. Kurt, hit us with your 2024.
Yes, predictions. I predict that Star Wars Outlaws will be fine, like good, but I feel like I'm afraid it's going to be missing this magic sauce, that it's not going to be amazing or awesome. It's going to be, I feel like it'll be kind of like derivative and kind of repetitive, and I'll be like, "Oh, cool, it's Star Wars," but I'm just afraid it's not like going to blow me away.
Sounds like
There
most Ubisoft games these days.
Yeah. I hope it does blow me away, but right now I'm predicting that it'll be just like kind of good and not amazing. Um a little similar to your Unlimited prediction, but a little different. I think Unlimited will be super popular, but it will be kind of a miss for me. I'm just not enough of a card game player, and even though it looks really cool, I I'm kind of expecting I might try it out and then like not gel with it enough to actually get into it, which is kind of like what happened with like Destiny for me, for example. So that's kind of my prediction for that. It'll do really well for everyone but me. I'm also predicting that the X-Wing Death Spiral will continue, as in like there's gonna be no new ships announced probably the whole year. That feels like a pretty safe bet. Unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong on that one. I hope they come out and say like, oh, we've got all these new ships from Ahsoka and Mandalorian and stuff, but I'm not expecting it. Getting into resolutions, I want to play more games, as in-person tabletop games. I want to get out to the game store. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to do any leagues, but I do want to do some tournaments and just play some more games. I want to play Deck Builder, and I want to play
what
Legion. I want to play Shatterpoint.
what if they were more like one-day events, like where we just say we're just gonna go play a couple rounds, and you play like Papaloo's Wild Ride,
Mhm.
uh, OP kit, or something like that. You'd come out for that.
Yeah, quite possibly.
What
I
what
think the,
about
the biggest problem with leagues was
Good,
like trying to
because we
schedule
got
and
some stuff like that in the works at the
okay.
store. So
Yeah, I want
the
to do
what?
some.
what if instead of a league, we played through like an Armada campaign at the store? Would that get you out, even though it was a more of a regular thing?
It would be cool, but I do think the scheduling would be hard because I feel like I don't have time after work to get in a full Armada match.
Well,
But
there's
I'm
weekends.
sometimes I had real trouble with this last league and it really burned me. So
Well, we'll
What
see.
about
Me and Ian are talking about doing something with one of the campaign kits here
yeah, I
soon,
want to do
after
something.
the
I want
new
to do
year.
something for sure.
our Legion? It's not a league anymore. We haven't had like an actual like league in a long time. It's just every Thursday, whoever shows up plays. And usually there's some coordination ahead of time to say, "Hey, I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there." But usually there's enough where you can always expect at least somebody will be there. So there's never like